Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you a NUT-based team, one of the more recent fusions, plus 4 epic champions to take out Dark Fae, even up to floor 120 of Doom Tower Hard, which is pretty huge. So we're going to be trying it out. I am wearing my old wizard's robe today. It's we've been having a heat wave in Ireland for the last while, so all of the windows in the house have been just kind of on the latch, like half open for ages. And just today it got really cold. So I just was, walking around. I was like, man, I'm actually freezing here. What is going on? That's what's going on. It's cold. So let's jump in. Let me show you the team. Here it is. This is the team. Let me click play. Let's go. I'll show you the run and then we will break it down. So I'm running this right now, this run on 60 frames per second. I'll show you as well the time for unlimited. The time for unlimited will be around about 1.5 minutes to farm this. This team, I have been running it this whole rotation so far. I actually had to rebuild this team. I used to use Herndeg in here and Lysandra, so I really had to switch up my team to get Noose in. What is the difference? Well, bringing in Newt, this team is now 100% successful, whereas my other teams had a small chance of failure. And it's also faster as well. So it's been sort of a win-win bringing in Newt. I think you could probably even optimize this team more. I'm going to give you guidelines for how to build it. But there's going to be actually quite a bit of flexibility in terms of exactly how you set it up. It's going to be very adjustable to lower floors, right? So for example, the Dark Fae boss on floor 120 hard has 250 speed. So having decent speed is going to be important. Look, we get to the boss. We do the AoE defense down. Allure sort of follows up as well. Newt's even going to do his thing. We are going to get smacked here, which is going to hurt a little bit. And this Newt is counterattack, but our Newt with counterattack kills him. Dark Fae is going to copy us. Ouchies. We almost lose Cold Heart at this point. That's okay. Our Newt finishes off their Newt. That's going to make this run a little bit slower. So there's a little bit of randomness there. One really nice thing, as you'll see right here, is because Deacon is putting out Leech, I think that's part of what makes this so consistent, is that we're just going to be healing up with our damage. Like those War Master procs, well, in the case of Cold Heart, it's Giant Slayer procs. They're going to be healing her up. I would say, like, looking at that, this run here, I could see Cold Heart. She almost died there. I think we still win even without her. But, like, if you had to squish your Cold Heart, yeah, you might have some trouble. But that's okay. I think we got a little bit unlucky with Deacon. I think his decreased defense was resisted by Noose, which is unusual. I think it was. Not unusual for it to be resisted by Allure or Royal Guard, or not resisted, but weak hit, those clones, because of affinity. You can see we keep the boss's turn meter almost entirely down. That does depend a little bit on luck with relentless sets on Newt as well. But it's even if the boss takes a turn, it's not a huge deal. So this time we did it. It is a bit slower in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Just to show you, just to prove it, here we go, because I took a screenshot. I never run the game in unlimited frames per second. I never bother, but the run I did right before this with my keys, whatever, 7 and 8, yeah, came in and it was 128, which is actually equal to the record time, though, with a few more turns this time around with Newt. So very similar here. You can see with this one, for the good luck run, Newt had to pop off a little bit more. With the bad luck run, he didn't pop off as much, basically. But that's okay. And that's how this one works. So it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. Sort of the key to making this work is that these champions are squishy, apart from Noose, who as a defense-based champion, he is going to be fairly tanky. But because Deacon is the right affinity, if you get the proper look, he will push the turn meter of everybody back at the start of the boss fight, puts decreased defense on. Then Allure can help nuke them down. Cold Heart is set up to nuke them down. Royal Guard. Noose even helps to nuke them down. And then when you get onto the boss, Allure keeps the turn meter down. Royal Guard is decreased speed, keeps turn meter down. Deacon pushes turn meter. Newt pushes turn meter and max HP nuke. Cold Heart pushes turn meter, max HP nuke. Max HP nuke on Royal Guard. It all adds up to a nice little run. Now, there are a lot of different ways that you can build this team. So if we go through them, for me, you can see I'm going to have very high speeds on these champions because I'm using them in a variety of different places. You do not need to be that fast. So, for example, if I come over here, this is hellhades.com. And what we have here, I really recommend doing this. You go into the raid stages tool, it's right down here, and you can search for whatever floor you want and adjust your composition. So for floor 120 hard, the Dark Fae, number one, you're going to need 355 accuracy to debuff her consistently, or as close to it as you can get. She has 250 speed. So look, if none of your champions are above 250 speed, the boss is going to go before you, and you're going to have a really bad time. It's not going to work. So you do need to be faster than that. It's just the way it is. I think I remember someone, I put out a guide on like free-to-play Doom Tower before, and I was like, well, if you want to beat it free-to-play, they were like, you can't have more than 250 speed free-to-play, which is silly in itself. But it's like, well, I mean, it's not like the boss is going to lower its speed because you're free-to-play. It's 250 speed on floor 120 hard, no matter how much you spend. That's what you need to beat. Until you get there, it takes time, but when you get there, that's how you can beat it. But you can adjust it. So like if I check, before we look at Deacon and all that, if we check, where else is Dark Fae on this? Like if we come down to floor 80, it'll be a lot easier, a good bit easier. We come down, we can search in, we want floor 80 hard, which is right here. Bang. You can check the waves as well. So the boss here is 230 speed. So now suddenly you've knocked 20 speed off the requirements. And you've also massively reduced the accuracy that you need, which is honestly probably the bigger difference, I would say. It's quite tricky to get high speed, good damage, and also 350 accuracy. At least that is my memory from back in the day and the first time clearing these. It's been quite a while, to be fair. It's been quite a while. Let me show you these champions and what I've been using. So Deacon, he is going first. Deacon does have cruelty. I think as he's pumping out so many AoE hits, I think this gives you pretty good value. It's not important that he has a blessing. It's just a bonus. But we have him running in triple speed here. You can see his accuracy is actually a little bit low, but it's good enough to land it most of the time. And if the boss resists, it's not super duper important. I think we do have the mastery to help with it a little bit. Like, so charge focus is going to help a little bit. Especially on the first, like the initial part of the fight, because we're going to be locking out his skills on wave 2. So that does make a difference to help lock him out. These are his masteries. He has War Master, and pretty simple, right? We're going to give him a longer debuffs potentially and up his chance to place the leech on his A1. And it's really as simple as that. He is in speed gear. It's not quite fully rolled up. I do have him with high speed. You do not need him to be this fast. You obviously want him to be above 250 speed. He really wants to be faster than Dark Fae. You want him to be the fastest in your team. I have to have him this fast because I think my Cold Heart is especially quick. She is 279 speed. The reason for my Cold Heart being this quick is, let me actually show it to you. I'm going to get in trouble. I think we're full stop. I'm not supposed to do any clan v clan points. Hopefully my clan leader will forgive me for one spider run for this crime. Maybe I won't even do the spider run, but like for my spider team, again, for hard spider, you do need to be quick enough. But for this team, Cold Heart needs to be fast. And then Drang comes in with the burns, and then we explode the burns. She doesn't actually need to be this. I could actually drop her speed by like 20, actually 21 points, and she'd still work. Anyway, point aside, my Cold Heart's very fast. But I was like, oh, can I make it work with this team? Yes, I can. Does she need to be this quick? No, she doesn't. So I do have a 6-star Cold Heart with Phantom Touch. This will make your run faster by doing more damage. Does she need a blessing? No, she does not. Does she need to be this fast? No, she does not. I will say this is probably one of the bigger ways that you will fail Dark Fae. More on 120 hard. You may need to up the speed of your champions would be my recommendation. We do have a speed aura from Deacon, which is definitely going to help, right? I would try, if possible, to get everyone above 250 speed at least. And that might be the part where you're going to fail. Like if you find that the boss is taking too many turns, you need to up the speed of your champions. And it's not really going to matter. Like you don't really need any defensive stats much because you shouldn't be getting hit much at all. You should be able to survive. You know, the weaker, the squishier champions are, the easier it is to kill their clones. And damage makes it faster. But it's really all about speed and accuracy. Is basically the name of the game for this. Like I said, my Cold Heart's really fast. Her accuracy is a little bit low, but it works just fine. Like I said, this team, I've run it a whole bunch of times. There's definitely a few things that go wrong, yet this team has still somehow managed to be 100% successful. So I guess Noose is just that broken, honestly. Her masteries are like this, Giant Slayer, and really I should fill out Master Hexer and Sniper, but it's not a huge deal. If the boss can heal, I'm not sure if she heals with these affinity. It's based off affinity. I think she might heal based off this affinity, so the heal reduction would be nice, but it's really not important. So yeah, that is with Cold Heart. Next up, we have Allure. Allure is really important. And with Allure, you definitely want to be cranking speed up as much as you can. You can see I'm low on the accuracy requirements for all of these champions. So, they might be 90% successful, but it's good enough. Maybe even more than that, because Allure is always going to have a bonus 20 right there. So probably more than 90% successful, honestly. But yeah, again, Allure, we're really looking for as much speed as possible. I could re-gear her a little bit, but you just want her fast, fast, fast. She needs 100% crit rate because she needs to always crit to do the turn meter pushback. And this is sort of the key Allure build that obviously unlocks all of Fire Knight normal all the way up to stage 25. It's just a fast Allure with enough accuracy. And this A1, she can keep Fire Knight turn meter pushback 100% by herself, even on stage 25 normal. We saw that from Victor Tez in the Fire Knight competition last night. And it works amazingly. It's the strongest consistent turn meter control in the game for Dark Fae. She is the best. Phantom Touch would be her best blessing overall. I do think. I only have her 1 star, so it really doesn't do much. Helps take down the Fire Knight shield, but it's not too important. Royal Guard then coming in. This Royal Guard is very quick as well. He doesn't need to be quite this quick. He actually has the proper amount of accuracy. He's got lots of stats. I use him for Nightmare Hydra, which is why he's fairly pimped out. Though he is in just Perception. Again, Relentless would be ideal, but it's quite hard to get those stats with Relentless. I have him in Crushing Rend because he's 6-star Awakened. But you could put him in Cruelty, Phantom Touch, whatever. The Blessing doesn't matter. This ups your damage, but it doesn't really matter, right? This is all about control. He has War Master and more chance of placing debuffs and extending them. That is important. Part of what makes him so good for Dark Fae is this: the 4 hits at random that can place decreased speed and pushback turn meter. Upping the chance of that decreased speed, it should be almost definite, but just to make it more consistent, extending it as well is just great. Upping his chance of decreased defense and extending it is just great, especially these things for Hydra as well are both very useful. Then he brings the big damage. Then finally Noose, he does have Brimstone. This is kind of nice if the boss takes a turn, gives you some extra damage, but it's not super important. I have mine in Relentless and Speed. I use him in Nightmare Hydra. So again, you don't need quite these crazy stats, but I'd say you probably want to drop his, if you're going to struggle with killing your Noose, that might be the biggest problem. He might be too tanky to kill. You could even drop his defense and his HP. He doesn't need to be this tanky, but you do want good speed and good accuracy. And I do think, around about 200% plus crit damage is fairly solid. With decreased defense or decreased defense weaken, preferably, he's easily going to max out his damage in nearly everywhere with even only this low crit damage. Obviously, if you don't have decreased defense or you don't have weaken, the amount of crit damage you need goes up. But we've got decreased defense on this team, and we've got a bit of cruelty as well. I don't think cruelty stacks with Newt's A3, by the way. I think whichever one is higher counts, but it's all good. And yeah, we have him with these masteries right here, so he does have Giant Slayer, I guess is the important thing. And yeah, fairly straightforward there with the Newt. Relentless is not essential. This is mostly for Hydra. The reason is with Relentless, it makes you a bit more consistent with not getting targeted by Mischief because of his counterattack. And I will say the final thing with gearing, you can see if you take a quick glance at all my champions, one thing I do not have on any of them, it's very important, is what Arbiter has one piece of: reaction gear. Turning crits into normal hits before the first turn. Nobody with this. Do not put it on. Also, be very careful of... Maybe Newt has a piece. No, Royal Guard. Be really careful of revenge accessories. These can mess you up. Yeah, because they can counterattack and it can mess up your team, and it goes badly. So watch out for that. $10 for Primal Shard? No, thank you. I think I did a video earlier, and I think someone left a comment. I think they're right. I was valuing Ancient Shards at $1.50, and then saying that Primal Shards being like twice that should be like probably at least $3 with the 2x Primal. And then maybe an extra 50 cents for the sake of mythical. So I was thinking $3.50. Someone corrected me and said that ancient shards are probably more valued at $1, and that might actually be correct. I think I was misremembering, honestly, in which case double $1 would be $2 plus 50. So primal shards probably only worth about $2.50 or so. So really very similar value to a void shard, honestly, right now. Of course, this is hard to judge as it moves into the future in terms of mythical champions may become super insane. and the value goes up. Either way, it's a long way off. $10 that we just got an offer for. It's certainly miles off. It's the main point right there. But yeah, that's the team for Doom Tower Hard 120. Let's run it again. Here we go. One final run. Can we get some good luck this time? We shall see. I need to show you the presets as well. We open with Deacon's Decreased Defense on wave 1. We can pretty much open with everything on wave 1 and just blow them up. If you do these waves slower, that's totally fine as well. When we come to wave 2, it's going to be very important to turn off both of Deacon's moves. You could have him open with, again, his Decreased Defense. That's fine. But he really wants to have his turn meter pushback and Decreased Defense ready for the boss. That's kind of essential. Cold Heart, I just save for AoE to help blow us up. Allure, I'm going to save for AoE to help blow our duplicates up as well. And that's probably the main thing. You can start off, like if you're lacking damage when you get to the boss or blowing them up, you could open with Royal Guard's A2 to help kill your clones, then land the decreased speed after. For me, I actually found I don't need to do that. So I can actually open with his A3, and usually there's enough people dead, we get decreased speed out straight away. So here we go. Push him back, decreased defense on nearly everybody. Cold Heart does some pretty good damage. Allure does some pretty good damage. Royal Guard comes in and smacks. He actually did miss the decreased speed here, so that makes it a little bit more difficult. We smack the Royal Guard. Here we go. We're going to push him back again. And bam, the boss will almost definitely, I think, get a turn here. Yeah, she gets a turn, but we can take the hit, and it's just fine. We'll pick it back up. GNUT pushes back with his A1 whenever he does it. Once we get onto the boss, we have GNUT open with his A2, but after that, I think we lock it out and we just have him do his A1 and A3. His A3 is really what makes this run so fast. He just does so much damage. The boss may get one more turn and we'll run out of the weekend at that point, so that's a slight bummer. That's just what happens when we don't land the decreased speed there. But it's actually okay. As you can see, with the speeds we have, we're totally fine. Again, we can take a hit from the boss. Really, we're worried about this building up. I think to 5 is when she summons a full mirror copy, so that's kind of bad. You've got quite a few turns. You can let her take quite a few turns. And your team should heal up pretty well. With Deacon's Leech, you should be able to heal up pretty safely. So again, a little bit slower that time. 2 minutes, 9 seconds. So yeah, I don't know. Let's say that's about the average time for the average person with this composition. Maybe if you don't have like the blessings, you got weaker gear. Maybe it takes you 2 minutes 30, something like that. Maybe 3 minutes max. But it's a nice consistent team. I'll show you the setup here just so it's super clear. Let's make it as clear as possible. So Deacon, open with Sweeping Retribution, then turn it off. Wave 2, open with Sweeping Retribution and turn it all off as well. I actually think if you've got worse gear on wave 1, it might be better. Like, you might clear wave 2 faster if you manage to get that. I'm actually so strong that he never gets this cooldown back, so it might as well just be turned off. Then he comes to wave to the boss, priority 1 on the turn meter, and then he typically does decreased defense, I think most times. Allure, open with Temptation, turn it off. Open with Temptation, turn it off. And then open with Temptation, turn it off, and we turn off Hellish Blaze. She can Hellish Blaze on the waves. That's fine as well. On the boss, we want her to help kill your team with this, and then just really spam the turn meter. Royal Guard, do whatever the hell he wants. You could adjust this if you wanted more damage. Wave 2, I'm going to turn off Hamstring. You might need to come in and turn off Takedown. That's up to you. And you might want to set him, for example, you might want to set him to open with Takedown if you need that damage, and then land the Hamstring where it's more consistent. Like I said, for me, I tend to be able to nuke down my own copies fast enough by the time he takes a turn that the Hamstring is pretty successful. We saw on run 2 there, it wasn't successful. We missed the decreased speed, the boss took a few turns, so that's sort of the risk you take. I'd say for most of you, you probably will open with Takedown, and therefore turn it off on wave 2 as well. GNUT does whatever he wants, wave 1. Wave 2, we turn off Fury of the King. We get to the boss. I'm going to open with Fury of the King, but never do it again. I just want to help nuke down my copies and get weakened on the boss. Then priority 1 on Blessed Bash. I think it doesn't matter. Let him use Blessed Bash to clear the waves faster. It's totally fine if he A1s the boss, gives you turn meter control. So there's no real harm. These are both amazing moves, so it's all good. Then Cold Heart, whatever she wants, wave 1. Turn off both of these, wave 2. Then we come to the boss. I'm going to open with her AoE, which can do some decent damage. But then don't use it again. Don't need it again. And then she can just do this stuff. I think she basically. Probably should set it to priority 1. Heartseeker, to be honest, is probably better. Now I think about it. But there you are. That's it. Nice and simple. I've got one more key to run. I'm going to go run that. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this was helpful to you and helps you build a fairly accessible team. Yes, we've got some top tier epics and stuff here. Hopefully it's pretty accessible. I'll catch you all next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.